Okay, to continue on this last part of it. Now, a lot of you have asked, what is this on my wrist? All this is, you can get these at Walmart. This is just a wrist straightener. In other words, I'm getting on up in age, and I use it to keep my wrist straight so I don't get, carpal tunnel or whatever it is. But I use it because it keeps my wrist straight. That's all it is. Is it anything special, all right? Now, a lot of you have asked what this is, and this is basically a carving glove, but your chances of getting a hold of one of these are very slim. And I'm going to tell you why. Because of the simple fact that I obtained this from an industry of where I work. And it's a special protective type glove that is reinforced, but very, very thin. They're used for people to be able to work with, but to protect their hands as well. So I was able to get a hold of one of them, in other words, and pay them for it. But this is an industrial type thing that it's only sold to industrial type industries, in other words. So it's as you can see on the outside right here or whatever, there is, but all this is reinforced in here and very, very strong. So I know it looks good and it feels great, it really does, but this is something that I was lucky to be able to obtain from where I work, the industrial field, but your chances of getting them, because they only sell them through industrial, and of course they buy them in thousands and thousands, it's very hard. So I don't think you could probably find these, but I just happened to fall into it. As you see, the whole back of it is not enforced at all, and the front of it is, in other words. And there's all kind of mesh and stuff inside of here. So I've used it as a carving glove. Now we're going to take our wood and just review real quick the different types of cuts once again that I go through. The most common type of cut is really, it's called a stop cut is what it is. Now, it's when you take the wood, you put your thumb here, and it's like a paring cut. I call it a paring cut because it's like cutting an apple, in other words. It's when you push the knife towards yourself, and it's not a dangerous cut. I've heard people say, I've had messages, you shouldn't have a knife, shouldn't push it towards you, but if you're going to carve, you're going to have to. So you can do it safely. You put your thumb here and just run your knife. Most people, their problem that they have, of course, is that they don't sharpen their knife enough, so they have trouble with it, in other words, and they have to force it. But look, it just runs through there and peels through there, and I call this a paring cut because it's like what you do with an apple. Right, like this. Okay, the next cut that you're going to see me use is called a push cut. I take the knife in this hand like this. Okay, I put my thumb, this is my right hand, my right thumb on the knife, and I use my thumb, I hold the piece with my left hand and use my thumb to just push the knife. If you do this a few times, you'll get used to it. Believe me, you will. I know at first it's a little bit odd, but you will get used to it. But that's the push cut. Now these two, the paring cut and the push cut, you're going to see me use more than anything. I basically use three types of cuts that I use on all my carvings. The paring, you're going to see me carving like this. And you're going to see me, like when I'm wanting to round something off, you're going to see me doing this. I'm going to be rounding it off just like that, using the push cut to keep the blade away from me. Okay? Now, I'm also, I'm going to be using where you cut, you take it, and you cut it. See? It's a V-cut. Now, in flat plane carving, a V-cut is used a lot. And all I do is simply take the knife, I go down, and I come this way with it, and I make a V-cut. And that's how I remove a lot of wood. In fact, a lot of times when I make the eyes, I make a V-cut just like that. Just like that. And if you look at the little cuts in the arms and stuff, those are V-cuts that I make. Now, if I want to follow something, for instance, I want to follow a line, I will use the tip of my knife, and I'll cut like this, okay? See that? I use the tip of my knife, I cut like that, and then I make a little V-cut on the side of it, just like that. Look, see that? But I use the tip of my knife very slightly, and I come through there, and then you go on the other side of it, and you use your knife to remove wood. Okay? Now, that just takes practice. It does. It takes a little bit of practice for you to do it, and that's fine. See, like I said, most of the time I'm using a paring cut, and I'll turn the knife around. And one of the things why I suggest basswood, once again, basswood does not have a lot of grain, okay? And when you're cutting, for instance,